So Tyson Fury came out with some huge information that I would like to share. It would be very surprising for a lot of people. He said that he does not believe he was robbed of a victory in his first fight with Usyk, even though he believes he won the fight, and he watched the fight about 100 times. And he says, I felt there are so many different elements when it comes to scoring a fight. You know, 10 people can watch a fight and 6 of them will like it, 4 of them won't, or whatever. I don't think there really is such a thing as robbery because it's just opinions, right? There are 3 judges at ringside, and each of them can see the fight differently and can score it differently. It's just how an individual views a contest. But he also said that I saw a couple of fights that people were said were robberies, big robberies. The first one was Bitterville versus Bivol. And I hear a lot of people say that Bivol won that fight. So I sat down the next day and I scored the fight. And without bias, did you hear what he said? Without bias. Without bias. Because he knows that we have a lot of biased fans in boxing. Now, notice that he said that. Now, let me ask you a question before I finish this video. Why would he have to say that without bias? Because he knows that people are out here biased when it comes to sports and when it comes to scoring fights and everything else. And he said, I scored it round by round on a 10-9 system, and I had it exactly the same as Glenn Feldman, who had it up 2 rounds for Bitterville, 115 to 113. My brother scored the fight. He had it a draw. Another friend of ours scored it and had it 2 rounds up for Bivol. Another fight Tyson Fury cited was the Amanda Serrano fight. He said, so I think it's just what an individual likes. Then I heard about the great robbery story about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano too, and I scored it again. And I'm partial to either girl. I scored it again, 10-9, and I had Katie Taylor winning by 1 point. But again, it's just different opinions. Nobody has the same opinion. Everybody has a different opinion of what they believe, what's right and what's wrong, as we know. So it's tough. I know a lot of these judges and people involved in boxing get beat up on for it because most people see it one way and they see it differently. It doesn't mean they're bad judges or whatever. It just means they've seen it from a different point of view than the next guy. And I kind of leaned towards that last night, and that's actually what the same thing I said last night as far as the fight. People see different things and they look for different things in the fight when it comes to scoring. So when it comes to certain things like robbers, whatever, yeah, I've used them terms as well. So he's probably a little more mature on that, but at the same time, he's just going to show you that even when people say in his fight, when he had a draw with Wilder, and some people say, I feel like Wilder won, or I feel like Fury won the first fight, he's basically telling you that, hey, it could have went either way when people look at boxing a certain way and they have their own opinion. But even when Frank Warren was saying recently that he felt like Tyson Fury could have won the fight and that Usyk getting a unanimous decision was pretty wild, even though in the first fight they had a split decision and the judge had Tyson Fury winning that fight. It just feels like the scorecards could have been a little more different. And Tyson Fury even said, I swear, I thought I won by at least 3 rounds. You know, Tyson Fury, he said, do you think I did enough to win? Honestly, I swear to God, I thought I was winning for at least 3 rounds. I lost the fight even though I was attacking all night. He feels like he was attacking all night and being aggressive. I would say he was being more aggressive than he was the last fight. And I feel like this fight was definitely close. I feel like I seen the work that he was doing to the body and everything else. I feel like he gave away the last 2 rounds though. He has to be honest about that. The last 2 rounds, he was definitely gassed out. The extra weight didn't help. But he said that there are no robberies in boxing though when it comes to people's opinions about who won the fight and who didn't. It definitely could change. Unless it's just an obvious fight where somebody got knocked out. And according to his career, he's going to have that kind of opinion, especially when he's had multiple fights with controversial knockdowns and counts and everything else when it comes to his situation. So he had the perfect answer, especially with the way that he's had favors as far as with judges and referee counts and everything else over the years. This is about as even as it gets for him. And a lot of people thought that he won the first fight. And so he has public opinion or perception on that one. But to be honest with you, the scoring overall has to become a lot more better in order to grow the sport. Because a lot of people are going to sit up here and not really give people the credit they deserve, like Alexander Usyk. He's catching a lot of flack just because of people thinking that, oh, he lost this fight, he lost that fight. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen any other fights in history where people have had this kind of pushback and just pushback. Even with Canelo and Triple G, when people talk about those fights, they had 3 fights. I mean, at the end of the day, we saw who won those fights, and we seen what they did after they fought each other. We seen one man go and fight more people, like Canelo went up and fought Kovalev and all these other people, and the other guy kind of sat back and just did what he was doing. It is what it is. But you can see now that scoring and judging is different opinions and everything else, but we need people who can go out there and talk facts. The opinions and everything else is not the way to go when you're actually talking about the sport of boxing. You need to be out there talking about facts and breaking down body work, the aggressiveness, the attacking. Fury was attacking early in the fight, but then he went back to what he was doing in the last fight, which was going into the corner, not really attacking, letting Usyk throw that left hand, and Usyk started going to the body a lot more, started getting out jabbed. So if you look at certain things like that, it's easy to break a fight down, but when you're looking at just one fighter and seeing what he's doing, yeah, you're going to have a different opinion. But some people need to be able to look at both fighters. And that's the biggest thing I've seen over the years is people can't look at both fighters at the same time and look at the work they're doing. Me personally, I've never seen a fight where I've actually changed my opinion after the fight, after I've seen it many, many times. Because I'm usually looking at both fighters and what they're doing. Look at Dave Allen and Johnny Fisher this weekend. That fight was closer than this Fury and the Usyk fight. But guess what? Everybody knows who really should have won that fight. So at the end of the day, things are different for certain people, but if you can actually look in there and look at 2 people at one time, you can be able to look at a fight, but a lot of people aren't looking at that. They're looking at one person's work, and they have a perception of aggressiveness or just certain things they're seeing, and they're counting and scoring certain punches and tactics that aren't really effective, and they're not really real punches. Like, it's a touch. The touch jab that Fury throws out there, people look at it and they say, okay, well, we're scoring that one, and it's not really landing every time. So a lot of times, that right there puts a perception in people's head. Okay, he's the bigger guy. He's throwing a jab on him. And it's not really a jab that he's landing every time. He's just throwing that hand out there. And a lot of people score it, but it is what it is.